So let's kind of get into goal setting and minimum standards. So we went through the position agreement in module 5, and on my team, we have 2 sets of minimum standards. And we absolutely hold to these minimum standards. And I encourage you to take a stance here with your team. I've seen teams, with double the amount of agents that I have on my team selling less real estate than my team sells. So I think we're at about 215 or so sides this year. And I have 3 new agents that have probably about 6 or 7 sides. So if I take those out there, the new agents that are ramping up, we're probably at about 210 sides with 7 agents so far. So was that 30 sides per agent, and we're at mid-year, and that includes pendings. So there's some sort of overlap there, but that's the kind of productivity that you should be striving for. So on our buy side, we have a minimum productivity standard of 2 transactions per month, and we look back 90 days. So there's 6 per quarter. So if you're selling 24 homes on my team, you're probably not doing that great. You're not. I mean, we've let an agent go who was just sold over 24 homes, and she just wasn't ever going to really kill it for us like we want. And then on the listing side, it's easy for our listing agents because we do so much of the process for them, but technically it's 3 sides per month or 9 per quarter. But our listing agents will sell, 50 plus homes easily. One will get to probably 75 homes or so. And I do believe that as far as goal setting, even if you're a solo agent, so there are some of you here in Real Estate B School and you're listening to this whole team building, these modules, and you're kind of scratching your head, but I've always I've always forecasted my production, and I've always set goals for myself. Without goals, you have nothing to shoot for, so you need to set an annual, quarterly, monthly, and weekly goals for every part of the pipeline. But it's important to take your team through this process. Surprisingly, your team won't do this on your own. So if you give them, and I'm going to go through the goals and comp spreadsheet here, but if you give them this spreadsheet, very few of your team members will actually go through this process. It's just a weird thing. It's part of the reason why you're so successful as team leaders, because most of society in general just doesn't give a crap enough to plan out their life. So, but you're not that sort of team. You're a Super Bowl caliber team, and your agents need to be dialed in on what needs to happen for them to be successful. All right, so this is in your Dropbox. It's called Agent Goals, Comp, and Affirmations. And there's actually a few tools sort of embedded in here. This is a tool I used back in probably like 2008 when I was a solo producer, and I think at the time I wanted to do 250,000, working X days per week, 10 hours per day, 48 weeks, percentage of time on versus in your business. I would earn an average commission check at the time was probably about $6,000. We're at $7,500 now. So that's 42 transactions. You can do this as a solo agent, I guess is the point I'm trying to make. So at that time I was probably light on the listing side. So it was 30-70. So I had to sell 13 listings, 29 buyers. And then it actually goes through, of the 13 listings, I know that 75% of my listings sell. So you have to take 17, you have to take more than 13, and you sign up 2/3 of sellers you meet with. So you actually have to go on 25 listing presentations. This is a great exercise for everyone, if you're solo, for you to do, but for every one of your agents to go through this exercise to see how these numbers and these conversion rates, agents don't put this stuff together. So if they want to sell, let's say you're a purist model like we are, so you have an agent that wants to make, let's call it 150,000. That's a stretch for our buyer agents on our team, but it's doable. We're at about 7,500 average, so call that 3,750. Probably less than that. Call it 3,250 to them. So that's 46 transactions. So they'll net 3250. There's no other expenses on my team. So call it 46 transactions. And it's all buyer side. So of buyers that sign, so a loyalty agreement, actually buy. So we're probably running even less than that. It's probably 50 to 60%. It seems like buyers for the most part are, they'll say they want to buy, but then they end up not buying. And we sign about 90% of buyers we meet with, but for the purposes of this example here. So if you want to sell 46 buyer sides with the inefficiencies of signing someone to a loyalty agreement and then buying, and your ability to actually get someone to sign, you need to make 100 presentations a year, or 2 presentations per week. So that's kind of the way we boil it down to our agents, using those exact numbers pretty much. Where if we'll probably give you an opportunity to sit down with a new buyer once a week, team generated appointment or showing appointment. And then on your own, you need to come up with, 2 to 3 legitimate new buyer consults or showing appointments. So you need to be giving presentations, 2 to 3 presentations every week, to be able to sell 46 buyer sides at $3,250 per commission check to earn $150,000. So those are the numbers. If you've never gone through an exercise like this, those are the kinds of numbers that you should be well versed in, and you should be able to walk your agents through. And this is part of the value that you add as team leader. So that's the first tab. You can see down here, the first tab called Goal Volume Breakdown.